where we are as we go. So welcome back, everybody. I'm Meg Fairchild. I didn't do a lot of talking on our first gathering last week. Megan was here, and she was our MC last week, but I get to step up and be the MC today for us. So my plan is I'm going to give a quick brief overview of the lit board and where things are. Actually, I should ask, I think most of you were here last week. Oliver, were you able to watch? There was a recording that we sent out of the meeting that happened last week. Did you watch that? Okay, great. So you have a general sense of where things are on that Miro board that we were working from. I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen and just reiterate a few messages in case anybody is watching this as a recording as well. So just a reminder, we've got our PowerPoint here at the top. If you need to reference that information, additional kind of information about starter projects, starter ideas, a timeline, questions you might have, and we've got this ideas over here on the right-hand side. And then below here is all the team workspaces. So I think many of you have found a team to work with, or multiple teams that you're working with. And our goal today is to give teams a little bit more time in breakout rooms to do a little bit more digging in on things. Of course, I'm realizing with a smaller group that we have here today, we may not have people from every group represented, and that's okay. We can still move forward and use this as an opportunity to dig in on some stuff, or maybe we'll kind of be a little bit flexible with our time, and we can dig in on whatever ideas or questions you guys have that are most interesting to you. Am I sharing my screen still? Yeah, okay, just making sure. I'm starting to get used to using Teams all the time and what that looks like from a sharing standpoint, and jumping back and forth keeps life interesting. So my hope today was that we could have representatives from as many teams as want to. This is not a mandatory thing, but I think it would also be really cool to hear what teams are doing and what they've talked about and what they're working on. Just give us a brief update on what's the problem you're trying to solve for, or the challenge that you're tackling as a group together. Give us an idea of what you've talked about and discussed thus far, and then any questions you would want to pose to the whole group, those could be included as well. Or if all you want to do is keep it to a brief update, that works as well. If you're not on a team yet and you are wanting to join a team, this is also an opportunity. If you've got a team that's working and you're we could really use some more ideas, we need more people, we need more creativity added in here. This would be a great opportunity to also kind of sell your team to other people. Say, hey, come join us. We're working on this really cool thing, and we want you to come and contribute and offer your ideas and inspirations as well. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat, and it's a link that's on the board here. If you go to the announcements of your team and then click, it will take you to the sign up and share out area. So I'll give you a little bit of time to do that. If there's anybody from each team that wants to kind of put your name down, team number, your name, and then that gives us a quick way to easily go down the line for sharing out. So let me drop that link in the chat. I have that over here. Thank you. I see a couple of you in there already signing up. Sometimes in Miro, I go to move myself over and I go flying across the board. So we've got currently, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 teams that have their kind of green side of their card flipped over saying, hey, we're accepting people if people want to join this effort. So if you haven't joined a team or you want to join more than one team, that might be a good way to do it. However, I do know there's a couple of teams as well that have, so maybe somebody's put their name down and says like, I want to talk about this, but I think they're not necessarily wanting to lead it. So they're looking for other people to join them. So those are maybe a little bit less active in the scheme of things, and then a few teams that are a little bit more active, and you can kind of tell from the number of sticky notes that are filled out and additional things that have been added to the project space on the board and all of that. So awesome. Yes, so xAPI cohort Slack, great question, Scott. Yeah, we're kind of, we're sort of adapting for this semester what used to be the xAPI cohort Slack. So if you're in that space, you will have seen that there are some posts that I've dropped in there. Thanks, Brian, for asking for the meeting link there, and thanks, Jamie, for giving that to Brian so he could join us today. So we've got that Slack is one way, and all the teams, I've tried to set up as many teams as I could with Slack channels as well, so that that's another way that you can communicate and even meet outside of this meeting here today. Yeah, thanks. We'll try to get that link posted in Slack and in other locations for next time. It's actually this, we're going to use the same meeting link both this week and next week for what we're calling the Lit Showcase. So the showcase next week, what we're hoping to do is do kind of a larger share out to the group. We have a full 2 hours set aside for next week. So it's a short time. Hopefully you guys have like had a chance to meet and dig in on some stuff. But nothing needs to be polished. Nothing needs to be, set in stone, or anything that you have to share about what you're looking at. Maybe what you've pulled together by the end is just like, hey, here's a plan. Here's all the things that we would like to do in the future, or here's a list of pros and cons. Here's some considerations that we want to start digging into in the future. Or maybe you do have some code pulled together or a prototype that you're starting to build out. That's cool too. We would love to just see whatever you're able to come up with in that time. So yeah, so we are using that xAPI cohort Slack and kind of converting it over to Lit. I don't think we can change the name of it, so it's going to stay xAPI cohort for now. We are looking, I think maybe in the spring we'll have our own place for chatting, which will be a different location than that particular Slack community. So yeah, so yeah, for anybody that joined a little bit late, right now I've just asked that people click on that Miro link, sign up to share out with the group, and I'm gonna actually right now stop talking and let Team Hytham from Team 4 take over. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen and let Hytham go first, just to give us a quick idea of what you're working on.
Thank you, Meg. All right, so share my screen. I see it now. Um,
Don't forget in Zoom, you have to click share. You select it and
yes,
click share again.
yes, I get lost between all these apps. Can you guys see my screen?
It's loading. Yep. Yep.
Okay, fantastic. All right. So our project name is Mix Up Fixer. We had a couple other names, but we picked up Mix Up Fixer. And what the Mix Up Fixer does in a nutshell is just a little bit of background. I've always been working with xAPI and data and how to put it in LRS, how to build graphs and completion graphs and all of that stuff. But uh, based on just personal interest, I wanted to do more with the data. Um, Meg, we've had a couple of conversations in the past about how we can mine that data to do other things. So uh, looked at some of the ideas, and my team, basically picked these two ideas. So learning in the flow, delivering learning when and where people need it, and then the data science piece of it is actually figuring out what to do with the signals. So looking at data and making sense of what it means. Like I said, in a nutshell, so it mines the xAPI answers or answer data uh, to discover and label common misconceptions. So, for example, uh, I took a bunch of data science and AI certifications within the past year, and a big thing within data science is what is precision versus recall. It's a very hard concept, basically figuring out AI predictions and which ones are true and which ones are not true, and how you can make, math out of it. So that's, for example, just a concept, or it can be a misconception, how people can, uh, or how people miss what two concepts are, or confuse them with each other. So the idea is to actually look at that based on the way they're answering question, and making clusters out of a big thing in AI and data science is clustering data together. And based on those clusters, you basically figure out where everyone stands, and can make predictions in the future, how people will do against that. So the idea, as I mentioned, we're using xAPI data to do the training piece of it, or training this if you want to call it a model, because we're going to build a model. Um, and once, so two things that will trigger an action. So the mix-up fixer will basically, if a person or a learner can reach out, whether it's via Teams, Slack, or even within an app, and ask a question. Um, Another trigger is actually when there's an error streak or dwelling. So, for example, with a particular concept, the user is continues to get uh, wrong answers for that particular concept, or they're taking too much time to get to complete the Nautic check, for example. So that's a trigger. There's a process of batching where you're looking at the data on, for example, a daily basis, and clustering things together. The other piece is just your regular helper, whether it's an agent, an AI agent, where you ask it a question, but it's not when it answers, you're actually using the content that's particular to the organization. So we're going to use RAG um, to add the content and get the information that's needed for the user. So to summarize, we're going to be using xAPI, we're going to be using RAG, uh, regenerative augmented augmented generation, and an LLM, so a large language model for the conversations back and forth with the fixer. It's still in progress, but we have some ideas on how to do it. Joan, my team member, has done a lot of stuff with like AI orchestration. So we're gonna in the past, so we're gonna use that orchestration to actually just bolster the communication between all these spaces. I think that's it. Might have been too technical. Sorry about that, but I think, like I said, the goal is just helping the learner with two things in the flow, learning when they need it, and making sense of the signals. That makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Haitham. That sounds super, super exciting. Great question from Zach in the chat there. If you want to maybe chat back to Zach about
Yeah.
what if there's any kind of specific help, if any, that you're looking for that that other people could jump in on, that would be good to know. Let's quickly move over to the next team. We've got team 5. Gregory, do you want to give us a quick rundown of what you all are working on, xAPI Escape Room?
Sure. I could share my screen, just kind of dive in to the nitty-gritty. I don't want to go too technical because I was sick over the weekend and technical stuff was out of scope. Let's see, make sure which desktop am I hopping into. Let's do this one. Okay. For now, where the heck? So for us, we started with the concept of an escape room to teach basic xAPI statement formatting, and kind of an introductory to new xAPI developers and devs. I realized creating a game would suck and quickly pivoted away from that. So Code Combat, if anyone's familiar with it, is kind of you introduce children to programming languages. One of my favorite is Python for this, and this is just a local setup. One of the things I'd like to do and start really like working on is formatting how to capture xAPI statements from this game. So essentially have a script that handles listening to events that ingests xAPI statements, sends it to Izzy was very nice and gave us a watershed LRS instance. Don't have to stand up one local. That's great. Tired of doing that on my local machine. And then for a secondary goal, I'd love to kind of push the LRS statements that makes the valid xAPI statements and visualize it through a tool set called JSON Crack. You can essentially input a JSON and it gives a visual representation of what the xAPI statements are. I find it a lot easier to understand xAPI when I have a visual element to it. And I didn't want to overcomplicate it. Essentially, I don't want to write any software if possible. But I wanted to kind of highlight that Experience API captures experiences in a JSON. It doesn't have to be an LMS or a learning module, although this is a game engine that has learning module adjacent things. It's not itself a learning module. So I wanted to kind of show its verticals where it could be used and leveraged, because the game engine is very like small. Like we're only going to be capturing 1 to 3 levels. We don't have to worry about a noisy to transactional LRS, which again, awesome, less resources. For us, I'm considering whether to throw this up on a small local server and then to open up a Cloudflare tunnel so we can access it in small dosage. But yeah, essentially, the idea is to instrument Code Combat, which is an open source repo with xAPI, and then to visualize those statements with JSON Crack. And yeah, very, very straightforward path, hopefully. And yeah, that's all.
Awesome. Thanks, Gregory, for sharing that. I haven't seen JSON Crack before personally, and as somebody who's not a coder but is like a graphic visual designer, that is like hugely helpful to me because being able to see that visually and like strip out the code aspect of it, super helpful.
If we have time to create a level highlighting the JSON setup for xAPI statements, I agree. The more visual, the better. It's so much easier to understand a concept that way. So, yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. So that's Team 5, xAPI Escape Room, for anybody who's not on a team yet or is looking for a team. They looks like they've got a lot of people working on that, but I'm sure they would love more, or people who want to just kind of hang out and see what's going on there. The next team update, for anybody who came in a little bit late, we're doing team updates. There's a, let me copy and paste this link one more time. On the Miro board, there's a section to sign up for team updates if you are available to do that and want to speak for your team and just give us a quick rundown of what you're doing. So next up, Team 1, Robbie.
Hi, everybody. So my team, we are doing from data to insight. How might we transform raw training data into actionable insight? So the goal, ultimate goal that cannot be achieved in 8 days is to build a dashboard that would allow stakeholders like managers, leadership, and etc. to review data meaningful and pertinent to what they need, and sort it in a way that they can say, oh, you know, nobody's getting question 1 of the quiz. Maybe we have to rewrite it. So thinking with the end in mind, we decided first to gather data. So how, and we created a survey that has pretty much 2 questions. How often do you run reports, and what data would you like to collect but it's not available? Because, for instance, in my LMS, pretty much we can only have completion and non-completion data, but with xAPIs, we could capture so much more. And that's why using xAPI, we hope that we can collect anything that they want to know, and it's not available now. So based on the answers to this survey, I am going to send it to my admins, and some people in my team are going to do the same and send it to people that they think could answer. we are going to analyze it and come up with kind of a lineup. Okay, everybody wants to know if they like the color red in the course, and this is just a silly example. And then we can organize the dashboard based on the item that is most requested by the people. And yeah, I think this is pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you, Ravi, for sharing that. So that's team 1, data transformers. If anybody wants to hop in and join that team and see what they're up to. I do see in Slack one other team kind of posted a very brief description of what they're working on. So Doug DeVitra is working on team 2, which is the journey map with AI. I'll just share my screen real quick so that can be a visual to go with this. So there's this second frame here, and Doug says in Slack, the secret that he has found to journey mapping the implementation is using AI to build the markdown files. Ask ChatGPT to create a markdown file and make an app based on blank, based on whatever. So if you're interested in kind of journey mapping and using AI to create something along those lines, then that is another team that's kind of working along here. So I would encourage everybody to, as you're doing your own work, don't feel free to like pop around the board and check out what other teams are doing. That might provide some inspiration for you as you go along. Drop notes, ideas, encouragement on other groups if you have ideas that pop up in your mind that might be helpful or useful to them. If there's something that you're seeing that they maybe haven't thought of yet. So that's another way that you can participate in this Lit Labs experience. And so for right now, I think we're gonna give you all a little bit of time to pop into breakout rooms like we did on the first session. So we'll open up the breakout rooms now, and the frames on the Miro board match the names of the breakout rooms. So frame 1 or team 1 data transformers would go into that frame 1 breakout room, and you can chat amongst yourselves. We'll give you a little bit of time there, and then we'll come back here all together and kind of wrap up at the end. All right, we'll bring the groups back into the room. All right, I think we got everybody back. Thanks, everybody. I'm sorry for anybody experienced with whiplash there. I know I always, when you're in a breakout room and then it's like, oh, we're back in the main room now. It can be a little jarring. So I just wanted to wrap up our time here today and give a brief preview of what we're planning for next week. So we've got our teams. Hopefully you had some good conversations in the breakout rooms. If your team wasn't here and you stuck out here in the main room, we actually got a good conversation. Marie brought a question on a project she was working on to us, so we kind of got to dig in on that a little bit. Unfortunately, we forgot to hit the record button when she came out with her question, so we don't have any record of that. But it was a good conversation about a project that she's working on with assisted living facilities and the state and local codes that they have to follow, and creating a bot that will assist with that, as the regulations are changing all the time and can be quite confusing to follow. So hopefully we'll hear more from Marie either in future meetings or maybe in the the next Lit Labs that we do in the springtime. So quick rundown of what we're thinking for next week. So next week, we're calling it the Lit Lab Showcase. The hope here is that in this short 2-week period, you've been able to dig in enough that you'll have something to share with the team or with the whole group, and kind of do a showcase and a share out of what you've worked on and what you've discovered and where you want to take things next. So take that message. If you're here alone and your team is not on this call with you, take that message back to your team so that they know that that's the plan for next week, is to have something to share out. Of course, nothing is mandatory. If any teams are like, no, please do not make me share what we've been working on, we won't hold you to it. But we would love, I think everybody would love to see the progress that you've made and learn from your experience as well. So come prepared. Slides are welcome if you want to do slides, or you can just pop around on the Miro board and show us what you've dug into, or like let's see, who was it earlier? Gregory earlier today kind of shared some of the things on his screen, just kind of walking us through things. So that's the plan. Before we close up for today, what final questions does anybody have?
I just have a comment. I think there was a question earlier, maybe it was Zach, I can't remember, asking how, what kind of help we need. Join us if any ideas, everyone can always add to what we're doing. So if you see, the short conversation that we had earlier, if there's anything that you can think of and you're like, oh, maybe add this or add that or whatever, just feel free to let us know. We are Team 4, by the way.
That was Team 4, Mix Up Fixer. You can find them on the Miro board on frame 4. They've got a cute little spaceman with a cape, or you can find them on the xAPI cohort Slack, which we have co-opted for Lit Lab purposes this fall. So, thanks Gregory for posting that JSON Crack editor. I will take a look at that. Any other final questions, thoughts? All right. Thank you everyone for coming. I don't want to take you up to the top of the hour. Hopefully you can get a quick break before your next meeting. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.